wanted to say one thing before that, if I may.
You may.
This is a little hard for me in a way because, as I mentioned to you, I've never been a particularly political or religious person. My father's family escaped the Nazis from Austria and came to America. My mother, as an orphan at 10 years of age, escaped the communists, went into Europe, and then had to flee a few years later from the Nazis. So they came here, they made a family here, and we're enormously grateful for coming here. And as a first-generation American, I'm enormously grateful for waking up as a human being in this country. It doesn't mean that everything that the country does or that's done in the country's name is good, and good people can disagree, and we do. I am presenting information that I feel, in that sense, it's awkward because I am a vocal spokesperson for this case.
You are.
And because I have spent 25 years studying and examining and trying to see where the loopholes are and truly not finding them, oh, sure, there's controversy. But it's just the accuracy of the information to this point has been so painfully and impeccably accurate that I feel I owe it to myself, my family, and to anybody here at the risk of being, I think there's this guy, J. Joe here, thinks I'm an anti-American. Maybe he's the one that's writing you. I'm not. I'm anti-death and destruction for us. And if we find that something is wrong, we must examine, and if it's wrong, we have to change it. There are ways to do that, and at the very end of the show, if I may give a plug for that, I will, but I want to thank anybody who wants to go. You send me an email. You can yell at me, whatever you want. If you want the DVD or the books, they're at my theyfly.com website that Art is kind enough to link to. So look at this stuff for yourself. This is a 4-hour introductory course to it, and for many people, it's the first they've heard of it because you've had the courage to put it on. And if anybody's interested, they can find out for themselves. Is this just a big bag of nonsense and the biggest, most impenetrable hoax?
That's fair enough. If you're intrigued enough to want to know more, then that's the way.
There it is.
All right. International line, you're on the air with Michael Horn. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
This is David from Toronto, Mr. Cropper in the SNet room. My question for your guest is, if Billy encountered the aliens and was on the ship, why are there no pictures of the aliens or the interior of the UFO? And
there is.
I'll listen on the air. Thanks.
All right.
Okay. To the best of my, I have seen one photo that is allegedly of the inside of a craft. I wouldn't put my money on it because it isn't clear enough for me to know that for sure is.
Well, why aren't there more?
Well, what happened and what was told in there, and when you read the conversations, it goes down conversationally, Meier had problems inside the ship because of some kind of fields that were fogging his film. He did take pictures, and they are on the website, some of them, from one of the ships successfully of 2 other discs above Switzerland where he's in the air at about 30,000 feet or whatever it is, 10,000 feet, I don't know, and there's 2 other craft outside the window of the ship. He has pictures taken in space. But again, some of these, there's pictures where I can say, okay.
Well, he could be inside the craft taking a picture of other craft hovering nearby.
How come he couldn't photograph inside?
Yes.
The way they did it is they put the camera, if I'm recalling this correctly, up to a screen that was showing the outside, and he got some clear shots. There may be in Billy's possession some photos of the interiors that he hasn't released. Maybe there are.
You're about to go see Billy, right?
I'm going to ask him. I'll see what they've got. If you talk to Wendell
make
Stevens,
a list of things that you want to ask about. Being the official American spokesperson is a very large responsibility. And he should understand that there are many considering his story in this country when you listen to a program like this, and you need as much evidence as he's willing to give.
As he's willing to give or can give, it's still
Yes, you should make your case with that strength. You're coming, speaking for the...
I will do it. I will put it forward. I think I know one of the answers because I've spoken to people there, and what they've said is, look, to us, the UFOs it's not what it's about. It's about our future survival.
Yes.
If what exists already...
Yes, but what you need to convince Billy of is that the American people aren't going to believe B until they believe A. And anything he can give you to confirm A will go a long way in promulgating the belief in B.
Okay, Art, I think we still have 2 things. The video that pans 300 feet across
You've got a lot. That's why you're here, brother,
Right.
on the air, because there's a lot of evidence.
And the sounds, I mean, that's still, that's level one evidence. It's physical evidence. So I'll carry the message, but, I'll do my best. That's all I can tell you.
All right. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Michael Horn. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Horn.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to ask you a question about the code, but before I do that, can I ask you about are there any pictures of him and Semyasi?
No, the pictures that Billy has, there are some photos that will be also again in the new book. Mm-hmm. They're cut off on the face. It is of one of the ETs when they loaned him a handheld laser beam weapon, and she is in a gold metallic suit with a silver bracelet connection to it. Now, when I just spoke to Wendell Stevens in Laughlin, who is the primary lead investigator in the case, and we talked about the photos because Meier was told to cut the faces away. They don't want people, focusing on these, and starting to worship ETs. They said, okay, you can leave in the arm and the side and the suit. Well, Wendell went over there because Meier had been loaned on two occasions in 1976 and 77 a handheld laser weapon, ostensibly. There's photos of him with it. And he put holes in a couple of trees with it. Well, when they went to investigate, they figured if this guy's a hoaxer, what he's probably done is taken a welding torch or a drill or something and will be able to detect it. They found that around the holes there was a little bit of char, but the holes were bored clean through and were smooth as glass. They had been penetrated instantaneously at an enormously high temperature. But beyond that, somebody had the brilliant idea, since one of these trees faced into a forest, they took a string and used it like a plumb line through the hole, and they dragged the string in a straight line through, and they found that every twig and branch that was in that straight line was singed as well by this beam. And they just said, this would be an impossibility for somebody to have hoaxed this.
Can I ask you a question about the code now? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I have his 33-page booklet, Life in the Spiritual and Physical by Billy Meier.
Yes.
And he mentions interwoven into all of Billy's German text is a code. The code elicits impulses from the spiritual realm, the Akashic records, which then touch the reader and begin to become active from within. This process is subconscious. Yes. Further down, it mentions about the English language, the foreign languages. For these reasons, each translation of Billy's text into a foreign language will have the original German text attached.
Right.
But does that still work in English?
No, what they've said, and again, now, let me just put this for everybody that's listening under the term, this is speculative, let's not, I'm not saying it's so.
All right,
what they've said is this: the German language is in some ways related to the ancient Lyrian language of the distant forefathers of the Pleiarans, our distant forefathers. The German language is constructed in such a way as it can convey these impulses when read, even if you don't understand the language. When you read it or pronounce it, you will. There's a connection to what's called the Akashic record surrounding the planet that has a subconscious effect and actually helps with our spiritual development. Take that for what it's worth if you want to look into it.
Sounds almost like you're talking about the Bible code.
Yeah, except that Meier this stuff was published decades before.
Yeah, except same concept, right?
In a sense, yeah. For all intents and purposes, where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. Wildcard line, you're on there with Michael Horn. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Junia. I'm calling from Tulsa. I listen on 1170 KFAQ.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think this is one of the most important programs you've ever had.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a good one.
I had a question about, has Mr. Meier written several books?
He's written... just to clarify, the books that are available on the website were written by a man who has known Meier for 25 years, came to investigate it a bit as skeptic, an Austrian principal and school teacher. Meier himself has written many numbers of books, most of which remain in German language. However, some have been translated into English. Some are in the process of being translated. So many of the conversations are being also, again, translated into English so people can read them in the approved forms. So more will be available. There's over 10,000 pages of documents that Meier himself has written that have yet to be translated into English. The Pleiaren have said that this is an 800-year mission. We're not changing the world overnight. We're going to have controversy and all the rest. This is going to, if indeed what they're saying is true, develop over 8 centuries. And what they say is the end result of us, for us, if we get through all these times, don't blow ourselves to smithereens, we will become what they call true human beings. Long-lived, with multi-hundred-year lifespans, more spiritually evolved. There's a lot of promise in this. There, on the website, there's something that's called Here's How to Help Change Things Now. On my document page, you can go and read that.